mean, I'm a Hindu and a very proud Hindu, and my religion teaches me to be tolerant, to be actually compassionate, to create a brotherhood of fraternity, and eventually to absorb and live with the eclectic nature of all religions. And you can see what the BJP and the RSS have done to India. So I do believe that today the BJP should stop fooling itself and stop fooling the majority population of the people in India that they are the custodians of Hinduism. You are not. What you do is actually practice an aggressive, crude form of religious polarization. So let me put it on the table. I am a Hindu and a proud Hindu. Mr. Guru Prakash represents Hindutva. And let us segregate the distinction between the two. And I think what Rahul Gandhi has done, in my opinion, Navika, is what he should do. He should go to a temple, he should go to a mosque, he should go to a Gurudwara, everywhere else. My second point, and I will wrap up with that, Navika, I'm very glad you have introduced the kind of diatribe, a vulgar diatribe in India, where political parties indulge in crude, extremely rude, impertinent, and vulgar abuses at each other. And I do believe, and I'm saying so here, that there are people from the Congress who too have exceeded a certain limit in the past, but full credit to the BJP for reducing the public discourse and the political conversation to an abysmal level, led by the Prime Minister.
Sanjay Jha, of course, Sanjay Jha, no disputes with the fact that people can go to a temple, a mosque, a Gurudwara, wherever they want to go. But they should also go to a battleground where elections are happening, instead of finding fault with others who go, and fight elections seriously, while you want to be, a political party being run as an NGO. So, Guru Prakash, the Congress party has the right to label everybody, Hindu followers versus Hindutva followers, पर आप किसी को label नहीं कर सकते, आपके पास ये rights available नहीं है. That's what Sanjay Jha alludes to. How do you respond to it?
Navika ji, I was patiently listening to Mr. Sanjay Jha, and that is where the problem lies. I mean, people can speak for themselves. I can speak for myself. Who do I represent? I can articulate that. But the problem is that there are two schools of thoughts. One which is talking of Gati Shakti, and another which is talking of Gaali Shakti. You have to understand this simple point. Madhusudan Mistry couple of weeks ago, Pradhan Mantri Modi ko औकात दिखाएंगे. Who is this? Who is representing? Who has perverted the public discourse? Who has perverted the political discourse in the country? I want to ask my friend from the Congress party, number one. Mr. Manishankar Iyer, 2014 कांग्रेस कन्वेंशन के बाहर प्रधानमंत्री मोदी आकर के चाय बेच सकते हैं. प्रॉब्लम यही है. This is the only problem when a son of a poor person, गरीब का बेटा सिंहासन पे बैठता है तो आपको दिक्कत होती है. Accept that with full grace and humility. कोई पिछड़े वर्ग का बेटा अगर सिंहासन पे बैठता है तो आपको दिक्कत होती है. This feudalism, this सामंतवाद is something with which we need आजादी. सामंतवाद जो है वो आपका है, फ्यूडलिज्म जो है वो आपका है, ये एलिटिस्ट एरोगेंस जो है वो आपका है. अब गरीब का बेटा, पिछड़े का बेटा, चाय वाले का बेटा दिल्ली के सिंहासन पे भी बैठेगा और अहमदाबाद के भी सिंहासन पे बैठेगा और गुजरात के साथ साथ भारत के 135 करोड़ लोगों का भी आशीर्वाद उसको प्राप्त है. आप गाली दीजिए, मैं बीच में नहीं बोल रहा था, मैं आपका सम्मान करता हूं संजय जी. धन्यवाद. This is the reason of the political discourse. This is perversion of political discourse. There is democracy in our country. There is free speech. तो बीच में बात नहीं करेंगे. तो आप बीच में यदि बोल करके अगर आपके पास तर्क और तथ्यों का अभाव है तो बीच में बोलिए, बट बीच में बोलना ये शोभा नहीं देता है. धन्यवाद. गरीब का बेटा, पिछड़े वर्ग का बेटा, ओबीसी का बेटा अगर बैठता है तो कुछ लोगों को समस्या होती है और ये आज से नहीं हो रही है, बहुत सालों से हो रही है. Accept this with grace and humility. And also another point, Navika, which you rightly said. Mr. Sanjay Jha represents or used to represent a political party. Letters from the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, to Rajendra Prasad, the first President of India. Openly, Somnath Mandir mein mat jaiye. But I salute and I come from the land of Mr. Rajendra Prasad, the first President of India, who went to Somnath Temple. आज उनके परिवार के लोग मजबूर हैं. आज मजबूर हैं, they have to go to Somnath temple. The fact that we can debate Hindutva, Hinduness 9 p.m. on a prime time show is a reflection that they have now faced the defeat. They have now tasted the real taste. The people of India are solidly standing, and the people of India will respond to the Gaali Shakti, the abuses of the leadership of the Congress party. Navika.
Respond, Sanjay Jha. 30 seconds.
Yeah, quickly. आप जानते हैं गुरु प्रकाश जी, आपके अश्विनी चौबे ने राहुल गांधी को नाली का कीड़ा बोला था और नरेंद्र मोदी ने एक शब्द नहीं बोला।
अधीर रंजन चौधरी ने क्या कहा था? गंदी नाली का कीड़ा, वो शायद आपने नहीं सुना, और वो तो सीधा प्रधानमंत्री के लिए कहा था और पार्लियामेंट में कहा था, पार्लियामेंट में ऑन द फ्लोर ऑफ द हाउस कहा था, शायद वो आपको याद नहीं है संजय झा। सो आई डोंट थिंक हियर,
just give me 15 seconds, just 15 seconds. Narendra Modi as the chief minister of Gujarat called Mrs. Gandhi a Jersey cow, and this is the party that talks about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. We have no respect for women in this country.
Well, she called him a maut ka saudagar in 2007, and he has never looked back, at least electorally, Sanjay Jha. And I'm not justifying anybody's comments on Gaalis and abuses. The question here is there anything to choose from? And let me take that question to Mr. Sohail Seth. Is there really anything to choose from amongst political parties, especially when it comes to the kind of language that they choose? But that's one part of the story. The other part of the story is how seriously are elections being fought? You know, somebody calls Narendra Modi Ravan because he can be seen in every election. Is being sincere and being hardworking and taking every election seriously now going to be held against people like Mr. Modi, who do take it very seriously?
You know, I've just heard Sanjay Jha and Guru Prakash. There's no competition in being abusive. I mean, you know, to compete, saying that you said this and I said this. I mean, this is the worst form of whataboutery ever. I have only two comments to offer. Number one, Narendra Modi is no longer Narendra Modi. He's the Prime Minister of India. When you abuse Narendra Modi, willy-nilly you abuse the office of the Prime Minister of this country. He's not my Prime Minister alone. He's not Tehseen's Prime Minister. He's the Prime Minister of the Republic of India who was elected. He didn't sneak in through the back door. He didn't, manage an election. So that's number one. Number two, everyone here is guilty of abuse. You know, when you don't have real issues, you then resort to pettiness. And what we are seeing today in our electoral politics is the worst form of pettiness. This is behavior that doesn't behove anyone. To abuse the Prime Minister during an election campaign, to say whatever you want and then say, but he said this, it doesn't hold. Then you're as equally responsible as anyone else. Who holds the moral high ground, tell me, in this country as far as abuse is concerned? Everyone is party to this. And I'm afraid to say that the Prime Minister himself should now divorce himself from this level of abuse because it doesn't behove the office. This is not the way elections are won. People don't elect people because they can abuse gallantly. People elect people because they can provide development. To constantly change the narrative, to constantly get into an abusive mode holds nothing. I mean, it actually alienates from the purposes of development that politics and politicians are meant for. A, B. What face do these so-called matured leaders show to the rest of the country? There are young people. We keep talking about the youth of our country. Is this what you want them to grow up with? Is this how you want them to determine opposition? Is this how you want them to compete? Compete on the grounds of abuse rather than on the grounds of development? Abuse rather than competence? Abuse rather than capability? I mean, I feel this is abhorrent. I want to take one last point, Navika, that you raised about religion. Sanjay Jha rightly mentioned that religion is a personal element. I have been against public showing of religious offerings all my life. And I've said people who do temple runs, mosque runs, church runs should do it in their private time. When you do it around election time, it is clear. Look, the people are not foolish. it's not that you're talking to a stupid electorate in India. You don't think people understand why people are going to temples all of a sudden, why they're prostrating before a certain god or a certain goddess? People recognize that. What you do is you insult people's intelligence when you keep doing this repeatedly only around election time. I think the Election Commission needs to do three things. Number one, it needs to take cognizance of people who use abuse in their election speeches far more seriously. In fact, I'm saying you suspend those people from even taking part in election campaigns.
These suggestions have been given many times in the past, and they've not led us anywhere, Suhail said. I'm also a little cynical about these suggestions to election commissions because nothing happens. Nobody falls in line because the election commission at best can stop you from campaigning for 24 hours, and towards the end of campaigning, frankly, it makes no difference to anybody's life.
So what is the solution? You tell me. You're a mature journalist. You tell me what is the solution. Should we continue with this circus of abuse, this circus of religious intolerance, this circus of complete mayhem and manipulation? Do we as an electorate, as a democracy, continue with this abuse of social and moral intelligence? What is your solution? You tell me.
Well, I don't know. The solution is for those who run these political parties to actually sit down and find out.
To do anything,
but here, what are they doing? Everybody is standing and saying, "Hum likh ke de dete hain, bhavishyavani, I am winning."
Ishkaran is on your program. Usko pucho legally, is there any recourse?
I moved Supreme Court. I moved Supreme Court. I moved Supreme Court on
1 minute, yeah, I'm asking Ishkaran. He's the
Tehseen Poonawala has moved the Supreme Court. Ishkaran Bhandari. Is the Supreme Court now going to come in and even with the pendency of cases that already exists with them, is it going to look at everybody who calls somebody a Ravan, everybody who calls somebody a Bhasmasur? Now, is the Supreme Court now going to be looking at these Gaalis that are used in election campaigning? Ishkaran, is that a practical solution?
Ask Ishkaran for a solution.
Hear such language, but I think even Suhail will agree that it is some problems are better left ignored. And anyways, let's be very honest. We live in a country, we live in a generation where on OTT platforms to YouTube, youngsters are hearing all manners of speeches and all manners of things. What all can you regulate? In the end, we have to trust in the wisdom of people. And I frankly don't think so. Ex-politician said, why people ignore it. I ignore it, and I think most people ignore it. What somebody says, they say what the politician does. That is why a Mr. Modi can in 2002, 2007, 2012, 2017, 2022 say, I am the face, please vote for me. He is asking for a positive mandate, risking his neck on the line to get a vote. People can reject that. He could have easily escaped that after 2014, saying, ab to mere haath mein sarkar nahi hai. On the other hand, we have somebody like Mr. Rahul Gandhi, whose strategy seems to be that please forget me and vote for Congress party. Please, I will not show my face in multiple rallies. Please, I will not be there leading the campaign from the forefront. Please, I will not take the responsibility. Power is poison, etc., etc., etc. But please vote for us. So please, let us be very clear. We are talking about a democracy where every leader should go to the people and seek constant mandates, which is what BJP is doing. Whether it be an assembly election, a municipality election, a Lok Sabha, every election is important. It affects people's lives, and that's what they are doing. Whereas the other side is still living in the la-la land of we will not be on the ground and we will want votes. Please vote for us without our leadership being there actively asking for votes.
Well, Tehseen Poonawala, that's a brilliant point. That's a brilliant point being raised by Ishkaran Bhandari, and he says it as it is. Mr. Narendra Modi, instead of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge having objections to Mr. Narendra Modi presenting himself in Lok Sabha Chunav, in state elections, in municipal elections, he's calling him Ravan for appearing everywhere. He should actually be thanking him because the man has got guts. The man puts his name, his neck on the line, and he takes it on the chin. After all, think of a politician who's won Lok Sabha elections not once but twice, doesn't need to go and show up really, if you really think in state elections, doesn't need to take the risk of his popularity coming down in some adverse states where he might not win elections. Yet, he goes out there, he puts his neck on the line, takes the risk, and takes it on the chin. How many politicians have the guts to do that, especially in the Congress party, to show their accountability to the people, to keep going to them again and again, and to keep exploring areas where they've never won a seat before?
Thank you for that question. It takes a lot of guts to, for example, cut your feet, cut your legs, and that will help you lose weight. But that's a stupid way to lose weight. So if guts is the criteria, yes, he may have a lot of guts, but if cutting your leg to lose weight is an idea, then good luck to you. And demonetization is cutting off the lights of the economy.
I'm sorry, you lost me there. What is the comparison? I'm
explaining to you. If you don't interrupt me, I'll explain it to you. Like if I want to lose, if somebody hypothetically
that I understood, but how is this connected to Modi going and putting his face?
I'll explain it to you if you can allow me to speak, because there's a lot of lag. Then it's not heard, so I'll keep quiet or allow me to make my point. If somebody says hypothetically I want to lose weight, and somebody comes up with a genius master plan at 8 o'clock saying, okay, if you cut off your legs, your body weight will reduce. It takes a lot of guts to do it, but it's a stupid way to lose weight. That's not the way to lose weight. Like demonetization was cutting off the legs of the Indian economy. It was ridiculous. And that is what the Prime Minister is doing. Instead of focusing on the governance of the country, he takes a lot of guts to go about and campaign. But the country is in ruins, and campaigning, is it positive campaigning? In his campaigning, he uses the word Shamshan Kabristan. In his campaigning, he lies. He says trains that were derailed in Uttar Pradesh was due to Pakistan. NIA had to counterfeit him, had to counter him. The Prime Minister says that dangayon ko kapron se pehchana jata hai. Moved Supreme Court on hate speech. Is this what behoves the Prime Minister? As Sohail said, he is the only Prime Minister whose speeches in both houses were expunged. You may call it guts, but I think it's ridiculous. And ridiculous is because India is hungry. Prime Minister says, "मैं खाता हूँ गाली." या थाली में नहीं है.
Sohail said, have you been able to decipher? Have you been able to decipher the philosophy and the explanation offered by Tehseen Poonawalla?
I'm sure you did, because
I genuinely believe
I
believe Tehseen has been very closely aligned and walking very closely to Rahul Gandhi, because his analogies are like Bernard Shaw's plays. The prefaces are longer than the play. Number one. Number two, when I last checked, Narendra Modi was not the head of an NGO. He was the leader of a political party. We're a democracy. Ishkaran mentioned the fact that democracies have elections as they should. Hard work can't be something that you can fault Narendra Modi on. B. You can't fault him for being a politician who works towards electoral wins, because that's his purpose. Number three, he's not on a long march to nowhere. So his business is to win elections for his party. He's the only vote grabber, as it were, and he doesn't make any bones about it. He's unabashed. Number four, please remember, the Prime Minister is only the senior most in terms of the equals in the cabinet. He doesn't have to sign off on every file. So to say that Modi is busy campaigning and therefore governance is suffering is hardly an example. By that logic, you could say when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was in office and not in power and never went campaigning, electoral politics of the Congress suffered. They didn't. They won the elections. They won it twice. So
can I please reply?
No, my argument is, please don't begrudge Narendra Modi his electoral style of politics. That's what he's done. He's won it in.
Can I be allowed to come?
One minute, Tehseen. Hold on. There is Shubh Malhotra. There is Shubh Malhotra on the panel, and just because she's the only woman on the panel doesn't mean we will silence her. I mean, apart from me, as a panelist, there's only one woman. So let me come to Shubh Malhotra. Shubh Malhotra, I want to ask you. The question raised by Sohail said, can you hold it against Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of this country, who's won not just the 2 Lok Sabha elections, but several elections are won on his face? Can you hold it against him that he uses, and his style is to get electoral victories for his party, and he is absolutely single-minded in that objective? And today when Mr. Arvind Kejriwal comes out and says, "Arey bhai, dekho, itne sare log aa gaye hain, campaign kar rahe hain Delhi mein," can you hold it against any party that they are going through the campaign style, the festival of democracy? And can you take it away from the Aam Aadmi Party? After all, the Chief Minister of Delhi spent 23 days in Gujarat, and Mr. Maan, who's the Chief Minister of Punjab, has also camped more in Gujarat than in Punjab, even when farmers are striking outside his own house. So how can this be held against Mr. Narendra Modi? And therefore, has the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party already given up before polling?
Yeah, I disagree a little bit with that. And, today while sitting in this panel, I kind of had the feeling of what the general public must be feeling of India amongst, so much of crude language, so much of mudslinging, and of course, all the, daily web series of sting operations and leaked tapes, etc. Because, nobody seems to be talking about the real agenda over here, which is with respect to the problems of the people. Everybody is just, talking in rhetorics, and it just doesn't relate. And one thing I would surely like to mention is that for Gujarat in particular, the 27 years of mismanagement, it is not just the BJP, but the Congress, both of them are responsible and answerable by virtue of being the party in power and the party in opposition. But the intention over here and the language that both these parties are using is somehow a very concerted attempt to change the discourse, twist the discourse towards the developmental agenda that they need to talk about, and their achievements, if any, have been achieved. Because probably they don't have any achievements to talk about. That's why, the discourse is trying to be twisted. Now, there is really no answer that they can provide by virtue of being the party in power and being the opposition with the Congress and BJP. Both are answerable for Modi. Both of them are answerable for Latha. Both of them are answerable for the 10,000 crores of annual illegal liquor sales in a dry state of Gujarat. Both of them are answerable for the 16 paper leaks. Both of them are answerable for the high rate of inflation in Gujarat, higher than the average of the India, of all of India. So, they don't want to answer about that. Now, with respect to your question about Arvind Kejriwal, let me tell you that he is just the single person, and Aam Aadmi Party is the only party that is talking about the things that are relevant to the people. So they are talking about education, they are talking about healthcare, they're talking, so basically the entire Delhi model, which they have been able to prove again and again, 2015, 2020, the thumping majority was not by fluke. The Delhi model is sound, it is easy to defend, and they have replicated these victories in Punjab as well. And I'm pretty sure the kind of discourse they have set...
Mr. Guru Prakash, pertinent points raised by Shubh Malhotra. Respond.
I was patiently listening to the panelists from the Aam Aadmi Party. I think it's my chance, my opportunity.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Guru Prakash.
I was patiently listening to my friend from the Aam Aadmi. Yes. No, and also if you can allow me to respond to my friend Tehseen, he remembers demonetization, but he refuses to acknowledge what McKinsey has said, that it is not going to be India's decade, but India's century. Is McKinsey also a BJP outfit? I fail to understand. He refuses to acknowledge that IMF and World Bank, they have predicted that the 5th largest economy, we are a land of opportunities. So you can remember demonetization, but when you refuse to acknowledge the indications from these agencies, it is really prejudiced and biased. Now coming to the Aam Aadmi Party, yes, your model of governance is definitely something to watch out for. Safai Karmchari in Delhi, Safai Karmchari of Delhi have been in Hartal. You haven't paid salary to them. In Punjab, you were appreciating the model of governance in Punjab. Lakhs of students belonging to Dalit community, they have denied the scholarship. Lakhs of government employees of Punjab, they have not received the salary. Is this your model of governance in Punjab and in Delhi, madam? 25 lakh rupees for construction of one toilet. Is this not corruption, madam? Schools, only one school campus you are running, evening school and morning school, and you are saying that there are 2 schools running. So that is the corruption model of Aam Aadmi Party. And the leadership of Aam Aadmi Party, Mr. Gopal Italia, what did he say about the people of Gujarat, about the followers of Swami Narayan Sampradaya? If they are not hitting, if they are not denigrating, they are not insulting the Asmita of Gujarat, then who is? Also, do remember your electoral performances in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal came to Kashi Kashi in 2014 and he never returned back to Kashi since 2014. There is absolutely no presence of Aam Aadmi Party. You lost deposit in the Uttar Pradesh assembly polls as well. So you remember Punjab, you remember Delhi, but also think and reflect about your electoral performances in other states as well. You have lost deposits. You have history of losing deposits. So we have to understand the people of Gujarat for the last 27 years. 2014 clean sweep in parliamentary elections, 2019 clean sweep in parliamentary election. Please have some faith in the democratic DNA of our people. They are more intelligent than you and I can ever be. It is the democracy that is the cornerstone of our constitution.
Sanjay
so you cannot just insult the DNA of our voters. You have to understand that.
Sanjay Jha, that's the real question. The question is, are we underestimating the power of the common man?
Well, Navika, let me tell you, on December 8th, we'll get a verdict. But I do want to tell Shubh Malhotra, you know, the reason why I find Aam Aadmi Party is probably one of the most dubious, questionable political parties in India. They did not make a single comment, Navika, on the Bilkis Banu case, where the rapists were released. They did not say a single word. And that's why the Congress has got a legitimate right to say that this is a party that actually is more communal than the pretensions of secularism that they demonstrate for public consumption. My only point to Mr. Guru Prakash is, you know, Guru Prakash, you and I will probably be on the channel on December 8th when the heat and dust of the elections are over. But India is today asking a question. What prompted the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, to actually remind people of the 2002 Gujarat riots, where over 1,000 Indian citizens died? It doesn't matter whether they belong to one community or the other, Guru Prakash. But you're a modern guy. I want to ask you this question. What made the Home Minister talk about the Gujarat 2000 riots and saying, we taught them a lesson, and then talk about a permanent peace in Gujarat, which we all know is, by the way, a piece of fiction? What prompted your party and the Home Minister to indulge in
was misquoted and a correction was put out. If you care to read the correction, he had said that since 2002 there have been no other riots in Gujarat.
I can't hear you for a minute.
Yeah, obviously, because it's the correct version I'm giving. Sometimes hearing that is a problem. But he did. There was a correction. There was a correction which said that he only said that since 2002 there have been no other riots in Gujarat, and it was handled, and people who had rioted were taught a lesson. After that they haven't rioted, and it was a lesson to all. He didn't single out anybody. But Suhail said the question of rhetoric is Shubh Malhotra right when she says both the parties are indulging in rhetoric? And what would you call Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's statement where he said, मैं तो जन्माष्टमी के दिन पैदा हुआ था और मैं कंस को मारने निकला हूं? Was that a discussion on the people's issues, or was that once again a leaf out of the Hindutva textbook?
You know, with due respect to Shubh, I thought she was just a political analyst. I didn't know she was also representing this remarkable political party which has caused a revolution in India's electoral democracy called Aam Aadmi Party. But having said that, my advice is as follows. You know, my late grandmother used a word which was very popular in Punjabis in Amritsar called meesna. Meesna is someone who's deeply insightful, very clever, very sharp, and Kejriwal has all those attributes. I have never denied him two things. Number one, his ability to change the narrative, and number two, his wins in Delhi and then more recently in Punjab. But Shubh, my issue is with the earlier comments that you made, where you rightly talked about the lack of development or the lacunae in Gujarat. The fact is that we're a democracy. You and I are no one to say, ye hua, wo hua. We can only comment on facts, which is a fair thing. But Modi was elected in Gujarat by the people of Gujarat. The people of Fiji or New Zealand didn't come and elect him. So the people of Gujarat knew which was the best option for them, whether the option was qua development, qua whatever, but they elected him. It's not that he came in through the back door. Arvind Kejriwal is also contesting through the Aam Aadmi Party in Gujarat. We will see whether the people of Gujarat actually buy into his logic of development, or your statement that there's been no development either by the Congress or the Aam Aadmi or the BJP. Having said that, the debate very clearly focuses on one issue. Are we a country that has debased politics by using abuse as a counter to actual electoral development or developmental politics? The answer is yes. The next question is, how do we stem it? Both Navika and Ishkaran have said that, look, it is not within any legal or statutory body to stem the rot. It has to come from within the people. So the people will decide. But the fact I'm saying is, every time someone abuses the other, you actually let the people of India down. Because the people of India want their politicians to work on development, not to work on sharpening their knives.
Well said, well said. And what started with the Maut Ka Saudagar ended with comments like Ravan, Auqat Dikha Denge. Well, and many other counters coming from all other political parties. That really is not the spirit of elections or the dance of democracy as people of India see it. For that to happen, of course, issues are important. But who's really going to be taking these issues seriously? And is it time for people to realize that politics is serious business? And instead of pointing fingers at Prime Minister Narendra Modi on why he's taking elections just so seriously, should they be taking a leaf out of his book and actually play the game as it is supposed to be played, as if it involves the future of Indians, 130 crores of them. Think about it. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1. On the other side, a brutal crackdown was launched by the Punjab police at protesting farmers outside Chief Minister Bhagwant Man's residence in Sangrur today, the home constituency of the Chief Minister. The farmers were lathi-charged by the Punjab police when they were carrying out peaceful protests outside the house of Punjab CM Bhagwant Mann over their demands. Dramatic visuals show sloganeering farmers outside the Chief Minister's home clashing with the police and were brutally beaten up.